Hi, I'm DJ Ware, and this is the Cyber Gizmo. Today, I want to look at a backup utility called Borg. I normally use rsync for my backups here. I do replicate between the ZFS databases using ZFS's send and receive, but what I want to do is to show you something I'm looking at, and I just want to take you along with me. I'm evaluating it. It looks kind of cool as to what it can do. Okay, I'm at the Borg website, and this is a open source software. It has a number of things that it can do. It deduplicates while it is copying over. It also does compression, and it uses four different compression algorithms that we'll talk about. And then there is encryption. This is data at rest. It currently runs on Linux and most Linux distributions. It runs on Mac OS. It also operates on BSD, FreeBSD to be specific. They're currently working on OpenBSD and NetBSD, and there is a there. I mean, you can obviously use this under WSL for Windows. I don't know if they'll ever develop anything specifically for Windows, but let's talk about some of the compression schemes as well. So there's LZ4, STD, there's zlib, and there's LZMA. The current version is Borg 2. It's in testing. And the most current stable is 1.4, which is this is the version we'll be looking at today. Why don't we, enough of this, why don't we, let's go play around with this a little bit, and I'll come back. Okay, I have my client directory set up here, and I have two servers set up here. These are virtual machines. One of them is I've identified as my client or CLI. Now you can, if you have the space for it. I don't know if I think I have it mounted. Yes, I do. So you can specify how where you want this. Now in my case, I have two drives. I have SDA and SDB. SDA is my boot drive, and SDB is mounted on SRV. You can mount it anywhere you want. But I always use the SRV drive to do my testing with. Is just kind of what I do. Let's see what we got. I think it's Borg dash backup or Borg backup run together. Yeah, it's run together. And then your docs are here in that one too. You'll notice that just that's installed already. I have version 1.4 that I'll be using today. If you just type in after you've installed that and you type it in by itself, you'll get this long list of things that it can do. Let's run through a couple of things here, a couple of scenarios. So let me get out to my home directory here, and I have a couple of shell scripts that I brought over from their website. So if you're interested in those, let me just show you where they are. It's on the quick start. And if you scroll down about maybe halfway down the here, you'll see automated backups, and you'll see a script here you can use. This one will start from the point of doing the create of the archive, and then it'll attempt to do a prune, and at the very last thing it will do is a compact on the file. It just says Borg compact, and that's it. So, and that will try to return as much free space to your file system as it can. The whole reason I started this was to try to understand how to back up Fedora Kanoite, because you have Flatpaks and you have a couple of containers that you can use. Plus, you have two directories that are mutable, etc and var. So those would be the ones you'd want to back up. But then what do you do with the rest of it? So what I did was I took his script and then I modified it for Kenoit. But anyway, what we're going to do today is I have two drives. The first one, SDA, is my root and boot, and then I have SDB, which is my backup. So this will be backing up locally to the machine, and then the second half of this will back up remotely to another machine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run this script, which is the local version, and you'll notice in here, yeah, see it has the remnants of what I was working on. It has a variable for the repo so that I don't have to remember it. Now, this is going to start with create, and Borg create assumes that the repo is created. We haven't done that yet, but that's okay. It's going to do the create. The create is going to exclude a bunch of stuff. So I'm only backing up Etsy and my home directory Borg. I don't care about downloads. I don't care about what's on my desktop. Generally, I consider that to be, test. And then of course, I don't want to back up the directory. Now, I'm not backing everything up, so it won't see this unless sometime down in the future I put just / here, right? Or I back up everything. And then that would be important, and I'd probably want to add a few others, which we'll talk about when we get there. In the remote one, that's exactly what we're going to do, is we're going to do a full backup. The next command is prune, and prune allows me to keep archives. So it's keeping 7 daily archives, 1 for each day of the week. Then 4 weekly archives, 1 for each week of the month. And then it's keeping 6 months worth of backups. You might want to adjust that. You might even want to send one of these off to another server. Remote server. And again, we'll talk about that. So the first thing I need to do is initialize my directory. And I'm going to use a repo key. This should be AES 256. You can specify Blake 2 here as well if you want. And you do that a little differently. And so you want to read the instructions for that. Next, I need to tell it where to go with this, and this is BorgBackup. All right, and then it's telling me to give it a passphrase. Do it again. Do I want to display it? No. And then it gives me some information. Hey, this is if you want to keep your keys somewhere safe, you might want to do these things, and that's probably not a bad idea. Number 2 is probably not the best idea, because everybody knows the best place for your passwords is on a sticky on a sticky on the underside of your keyboard. Yeah, and then always use passphrases, password 123. That's the most secure you can possibly use. And if you believe that, I'm kidding. So yeah, don't do any of those 2 things, and don't do this. Do not write it down and store it in a safe. There is no such thing. The safest place is in your brain. Yeah, that's for the present until AI can figure out a way to read that. But the safest place is remember. Use something you can remember. All right, so let's. It's because we are backing up Etsy. I'm going to have to use sudo to run this command. Otherwise, it's not going to back up Etsy. It's going to back up some of it, but there are some permissions in there that I cannot read unless I'm running as root. So I'm going to do I want to run the script, and I want to run backup shell. And now it says, okay, I've got your repo, and I'm starting to open it, but I need your pass key. And now it backs it up. And then it stops and it says, hey, I need your pass key again, because, it's trying to look at, should I prune the directory or not? Now, I don't have the compact in here. but you can add it. So there's all the files that it copied, and if you've used rsync before, it looks suspiciously like rsync. Yeah, it probably is something very similar to that. And it tells me, okay, this is what it backed up, about 20 megabyte of data. And it compressed it, and it deduplicated some of it. Chunks is how it deduplicates. So when it's taking a bunch of data from the backup and it's comparing it to what you have on disk. Each file is chunked up, and so it compares the chunks to say, hey, is this file at this particular point in its position? Are they the same? Or are they different? If they're different, it says, okay, this is good. We'll save it as a new backup. If not, it's going to deduplicate it. So, all right. So if I run this again, there we go. And then I need to do that too. So now you see two archives here. This is the archive name. It's the, remember we said host name dash now, which is the date, and timestamp. And so I like it this way because order is, it's year, month, day, then the time. So I like it that way because then they appear in order of use. So the newest ones are on top, the oldest ones are on bottom. So this is my oldest one down here. This is my newest one here. You'll notice that it kind of duplicated some stuff up, but that's all right. It just means that the original size was 19. If I could add the original size plus what you're giving me to look at, then I'm looking at 39 megabyte, which is, so the next time I do this, it should jump it even again. So if that seems confusing, don't worry about it. It's fine. And there's my 3 backups now. So if I kept going, eventually I would hit 7, and then it'll start crushing these off. So it'll start throwing stuff away. That's all you need to know for this. Now, the second thing we want to do is we want to do a remote backup. Only this time, we're going to use this script. Now, this one, I have my repo in here already, and it's at 118 and then SRV. And if you notice, that's this web address and this IP address over here. So, and then we don't currently have a repo built, so we need to do that first. Same problem, because this is going to start with create, and so that would fail because there's no repo there yet. So let me see. I think I exported this. Might help to do that. Okay. So if I just put in Borg Init repo key, that's all I should need right there. And this time it's going out over to this machine. No. And hopefully, yep, there it is. There's Borg data right there. So if I look at let's look at what we're going to back up here. So I'm going to back up. Let's drop down here. Everything. There's my / everything. And I'm going to exclude proc sys dev temp run user snap swap image or swap file. And then, of course, we don't want to redo that one. We don't want to send that over. And then I have the same directory in my that I don't want to back up. And I don't care what user it is. I don't want their downloads folder. I don't want what's in their desktop. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. But okay, so let's try this. It's Borg rem It verifies that, hey, this is for your remote database, your remote repo. And there she goes. This is everything. This isn't a real big backup, by the way, because it's just a server. Well, it's yeah, you can see some of these snaps take forever. But it's already off to, yep, it's doing the boot, and it's done. And there is my Prune. So in this case, it used 1.95 gig, compressed it down to 1.5. That might be okay. If you want more compression, you can use LZMA is probably going to be your best compression, but it will take more time to do it. Yeah. And if I change this, I think it should recreate it's going to recopy everything again. So if I do this by itself, yeah, it just backed up the logs. Yeah, so I didn't send much up there, did it? I didn't send much up at all. But I think if I were to change, well, let's try it. Let's just try it. Since we're messing around, let's change our compression. Let's see if it has to retransmit everything. I think it's LZMA, and then you can specify on LZMA how much compression you want to give it. Let's go 6. This will be slower. No, it's just recompressed it. Wow, this could get real confusing, couldn't it? I don't know if I would recommend doing this. How do you know from that which one it's compressed as? You'd have to do an info, I guess. Okay, it gave me a little bit more information now. Okay, it does say this is LZMA. And then this one is LZ4. I don't think I would recommend doing this. This looks like a real formula for disaster. And if you're going to do that, maybe change or create a new repo. Yeah, I just think this is a bad idea. This is going to end up in a train wreck. You can do things like I can check the integrity on this. The other thing you can do is there is an extract. So for that, I'm going to go up to the SRV. And I'm going to create a directory, Borg restore. All right. So I want this one right here. I think I see what I'm doing wrong. I don't need this. There we go. All right, so I got my stuff here. Yeah, and we're good to go. So those are. If I look at Etsy, there's my Etsy directory. If I look at now, home's going to need probably, and there's my Borg directory. Probably a sudo in front of it because I bet it's only read only by root. So that's that. Now you can also extract this to a tar file. Let's see if we can find it. Export tar. There we go. There's my tar file. Got to keep doing sudo because I had to build these with sudo. All right. So yeah, so it does keep it does keep track of the owner of the file correctly. So that's good. I was kind of worried that if I bring these back as sudo, then yeah, that could be a problem, and that I'd have to go and refigure out what all the permissions for the files were. So, yeah, this makes it a lot easier because first of all, these are relative position. See here, even if this was being restored to Fedora Silverblue or Fedora Kinoite or one of the others, that would be good enough to be able to restore because your home directory is actually in /var. So on those two. Anyway, let's go back up and talk about it for just a few minutes. I think, I mean, it is pretty quick. It's not, I wouldn't call it terrible. However, it depends on what compression mechanism you're using. Now, if I change that over to LZMA, that backup would take a while to run because LZMA is not all that fast. It's very good at compressing, but it isn't very fast about how it gets there. It takes some pretty good horsepower for that to work. I hope you found this video useful, and maybe you'll get started. Maybe you'll play around with it a little bit. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I think this you can add as another option for backup. The thing that I like about it is that I could set up my backups so that, first of all of my servers are going to a central place. That's not a problem because I can assign a repository to each one of them, and that's probably how I would do this. I don't think I would want to mix different servers on the same repository. I would probably want to mix them on the same mount. And then just back up that way. The second thing is it would allow me also to back up off-site where I could, have another place to push this data to and then have it available in case the house burns down and I want to get access to my data again. So I use a different service for that. I use Backblaze for that. So, yeah, I mean, let me know what you think about this. And the thing that, I know it's a command line utility, and some people kind of have heartburn every time you show command line utilities. But just remember that command line utilities lend themselves really well to scripts. And so you can, once you've set up the script, you're done. You just run the one thing like there. And you can look, Stephen Snow, you can look at his example. Just remember it's written for Fedora Silverblue. Or you can, on the Borg website, which I don't know if they took Stephen Snow's script and then modified it for just everyday use. But theirs actually will do a compaction step at the very end. I don't know if I need that or not. I might look into that and just, after maybe use this for a while on one of the production hosts I have, just to see how well it works out. One that I don't care about so much, like maybe the Raspberry Pi over there, that's pretty easy to rebuild in the event that something just goes completely haywire. But yeah, I usually start out when I'm experimenting with a new tool, I use a virtual machine for that. That way it's not something I accidentally trigger the end of the earth on one of the machines that I'm relying on. And then secondly, I have two test machines that I use in my network. One is ARM and one is x86. So yeah, I test on either or both of those before I then start putting it into servers that are doing useful work. So anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know below. And I hope to see you again. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and bye for now.